short time that I've been here in Washington, nothing has frustrated me more than false choices like the one the president laid out tonight. The choice isn't just between big government or big business. What we need is an accountable, efficient, and effective government.
That was just so unfortunate. You can bet the gulp, but not Rubio's plea for smaller government is what most people are going to remember. But hey, rebutting the president's ovation-filled speech is never easy. Others have flopped. Remember Bobby Jindal's awkward folksiness? And of course, there's Michelle Bachmann's, well, there's Bobby Jindal right there. And you do remember Michelle Bachmann's sideways stare. Nobody could figure out what the heck she was looking at. But before speaking, it really helps to know where your camera and your water are at all times. So the TalkBack question is giving the State of the Union response the kiss of death. Jason, I'm going to start with you. I mean, why bother with a Republican response? Why not do it the next day?
Yeah, I don't know why people don't do it the next day. And I've said, if you look at history, over the last 30 years, you've had dozens and dozens of people take on this role. Only 3 times has it actually led to somebody being on a ticket: Bill Clinton, Bob Dole, and Paul Ryan. I think it's important for the out party to have a response, but I don't necessarily, if Marco Rubio thinks that this is going to springboard him into being a Republican nominee, I think he's incredibly naive. But, you know, ultimately, he just didn't do that good a job. I mean, one, he contradicted much of what his own party stands for, and he tried to refight the 2012 election. So I don't think it was his best performance, and it certainly isn't going to help him or harm him, certainly, when he's going for 2016.
And Russ, I would posture that, you know, the president's speech ends at 10 o'clock at night. Are people really going to stay awake and really listen to Marco Rubio's response?
Well, no, probably not. I mean, yes, look, these kind of responses are the ultimate thankless job, and yet they're a job that's often given to rising stars, potential leaders, and so on. So you have a sort of collision of potential and possibility with this sort of grim, you know, you're competing with the president, you're speaking without an audience, and so on. I think, you know, the gulp aside, Rubio probably did what he, from his own political perspective, wanted to accomplish. I think if you look at sort of the immediate response among Republicans, which is really his real audience for those remarks, the response was pretty favorable. And I think that's sort of this is a speech that won't be remembered the way Jindal's and Bachmann's were.
Thank God for that.
I think, look, I think Republicans want to like Marco Rubio. That's the story right now. That's why he was given the State of the Union response. I don't think the fact that he, you know, reached for a water bottle is going to change that, because the party thinks that he's the man to rebrand them right now.
Yeah, but Van, all I will remember, stop that, Rod. All I will remember is Rubio going for that water bottle. I won't remember anything he said.
Right.
Let me say a couple of things about this. First of all, I'm very glad he reached for that water bottle. Rubio is dangerous for Democrats. I'm so glad that we're talking about him and that we're joking about him, because right when he reached for that water bottle, he was reaching an emotional part of that speech, which he stepped on, and he found it again at the end of that speech. The last 90 seconds of that speech shows you the danger he poses for Democrats. He is to the heart what Paul Ryan is to the head. I'm not saying that he's not also equally intelligent, but this man can connect emotionally. The Democrats dodged a bullet. You have not heard the last from Marco Rubio. I want to talk about not what he was you know, not able to say with the water bottle. Some of the stuff that he said is kind of scary. He voted against the against women, the Violence Against Women's Act, the day before. I mean, a few hours before. But so this guy has a very extreme record. Is very much like Rand Paul, his record. So you got a guy with a very extreme record, and yet he can connect emotionally. He is dangerous for Democrats, and I think people can chuckle today. They're going to be worried about this guy tomorrow.
Well, yeah, because I know you want to jump in, Jason. I was just going to say Marco Rubio was on Good Morning America, and he said, hey, I was thirsty. What do you expect me to do? I mean, he did show a very human side. It made him very real to people.
Yeah. Well, the fact that he can laugh about it really helps him out. You know, but the reality is, for most people who aren't heavily into news, all they're going to know is what Saturday Night Live says about this over the weekend. So, again, it's not necessarily all that helpful for him. But I also think this is important to remember. You know, Marco Rubio contradicted much of his own party. And I think it's telling. You watch Rand Paul and the Tea Party response right afterwards. He still represents a broken party. He still represents a Republican Party that still wants to fight the wars of the last 10 to 15 years, doesn't really have much of a future. And I don't think he really helped coalesce the party at all with a speech. Time may call him the Republican savior. I think they're still looking.
Okay, we're going to have to wrap this up because there's a live press conference coming your way at the top of the hour from the LAPD. Thanks to all of you. Thank you so much. Facebook friends, I do want to read some of your responses. The question is giving the State of the Union response like the kiss of death. This from Darlene. Give the man a break. Even our pastor gets thirsty and grabs a drink.